Grow stronger. Grow your faith. Grow wiser. Grow in your roles as a mother, father, son, daughter, husband, wife. Grow better. Today is your day to be better. Let's seize the moment. Good morning and welcome to Growing Better, spiritual morning workout. Well, for a few moments we come together and I share with you a principle or a characteristic that we can employ this day that helps us to be better today than we were on yesterday. And as long as we're progressively taking steps forward, then we're moving in the direction and at the rate at which God would have us to move. And on today's episode of intentionally growing better in our roles, whether that be as a mother, as a father, son, daughter, husband, wife, friend, brother, sister, employer, employee, we're going to look at an additional way today that we can move forward in growing better. Whether, again, that be growing better in our finances, in our health, in our careers. And before we get started, I ask that you will just take a moment in your own way to say thanks to God, to Source, to Allah, to Jehovah, whatever you call that higher power that wakes us up each and every day, irrespective of our race or nationality or political affiliations or religious beliefs. There's a source that wakes all of us up. Whether we acknowledge that source or not. And just for a moment, I want us to take the time just to say thanks for this day, for the gift of this day, that we get to participate in this thing called life. Amen. And one of the things that I often say is that in order to move forward as expeditiously as and as intentional as we would like, I believe that there are some fundamental questions that we must ask ourselves. None more important than how will I intentionally grow today? And in asking yourself this question, it forces you to come up with an answer that then you have to be accountable for in terms of meeting your daily goals of being better. And on today's episode of Growing Better, we will explore another of the ways that we can grow better and be better to ourselves. And see, I just believe that we need to feel good in order to be in the mood to be good to others. Doesn't mean that we can't be good to others, but if we're genuinely being good to others, it's an offshoot or an offspring of us being good to ourselves. And I just believe that this is why our big brother Jesus was able to say, love your neighbor as you love yourself, because it's only in being able to love yourself that allows you to be able to truly love others. If you don't love yourself, then it's going to be difficult for you to love others. And again, doesn't mean that you can't put on the mask, doesn't mean that you can't prime yourself or put yourself in a state that allows you to then be to others what you're not being to yourself. But I believe that the most authentic way that helps us to grow better in our interactions with ourselves and others is to truly love ourselves. It's important in loving ourselves that we be a good friend to ourselves. And that is the subject of today's Growing Better spiritual workout today. Being a good friend to yourself. Being a good friend to yourself. How many of you can, maybe in your own life, you can look at how we spend an inordinate amount of time and energy trying to be good friends to others. We go out of our ways, we make sacrifices, we give a listening ear when maybe we're not in the mood to. We do all sorts of things to display that we're being a good friend to others. Well, I ask you, how often are you making those same type of sacrifices? How often are you giving of yourself for the benefit of you. How often are you being a friend to yourself? We oftentimes look externally and we make sure that we're being good friends to others, but not always being a good friend to ourselves. And today I want to share with you three reasons why it's important that we become our best friend. Three reasons why it's important we become our best friend. And the first reason that it's important we become our best friends is because we can't unfriend ourselves. We can't unfriend ourselves. We're going to be with us as long as there is in us. And I just believe that if you got to be with someone and you want harmony and you want a good relationship, that it helps to be a friend to that person. So I just believe that the very best reason for befriending ourselves is that we've got to be with ourselves. We can't unfriend ourselves. The second reason I believe it's important that we become our best friends is because we all need a good friend. We all need some good friends. We all need some good friends. And I just believe that befriending ourselves gives us the opportunity to have a good friend because we get to choose, irrespective of others, how good we are as a friend to ourselves. See, sometimes in this world, people that we rely upon aren't going to be as friendly or as dependable as or as nice to us as we would like. They're not going to speak the words that we necessarily want to hear in the moments when we need to hear them. But if we befriend ourselves, then it gives us the ability to speak those things to ourselves that we need to hear. The third reason it's important we become our best friends is because when we get good at saying good stuff to us, when we get good at speaking the words and being in the states that one get us motivated and then keeps us motivated, then it allows us to keep moving and we become unstoppable. See, when you don't need external factors, when you don't need external stimulus to get motivated, to stay motivated, and to get moving, then it makes you unstoppable. And so, just for a few moments, I want to share with you 7 ways that we can begin to be better friends to ourselves. Surely we need external friendships, but more importantly, we need internal friendships. And the first reason, or the first way that we can be a good friend to ourselves, things that we can implement, we can begin to be honest with ourselves. See, most friends are honest with each other. If you see a friend heading towards a brick wall, if you see a friend heading towards a dangerous situation, you would tell that friend, hoping that the friend would listen to the advice that you're offering. Well, when you're off track and headed in the into a proverbial brick wall, it's important that you be honest with yourself, be a friend to you, and be honest about what needs to be done to get you back on track. Recognize that you're off track, but also be the type of friend that would help you to get yourself back on the right track. The second thing that we can do in terms of being a good friend to ourselves is to be kinder to ourselves. Yes, be kinder to ourselves. For many of us, and I've been guilty of this as well, if we said some of the things that we say to and about ourselves to others, we wouldn't have any friends. We wouldn't have any friends because many of us, we talk about how stupid we are when we make a bad decision. We talk about, we speak all sorts of things to ourselves that we wouldn't speak to others in the vein of friendship. So I just believe that if we're going to be to ourselves what we are to others, then it's important that we begin being kinder to ourselves, saying the things to us even when we made mistakes that we would say to others. And if we wouldn't call others stupid, if we wouldn't speak derogatorily about others in their decision making, even when they've made missteps, then we shouldn't speak to ourselves that way. It's just about being a good friend to ourselves. See, because I'm a firm believer that all we can do about what's already happened is to use it to be better prepared for life's next coming attraction. Because life is cyclic. It's going to keep it's been that way for the last 4,000 years. I imagine it'll be that way the next 4,000 years. Summer come out the spring, fall comes out the summer, winter comes out the fall, spring comes out the winter, and it just continues to cycle itself. So again, I just believe that the best thing that we can do about all things that have happened, certainly we should learn from them, but in learning from them, we can't go back and undo what we've done. What we can do is to prepare ourselves for when life should happen to bring another opportunity knocking at our door, so that now we're able to walk into that opportunity in the state that would help us to be the best in the opportunity that's presented itself to us. So the question that we simply have to ask about life is, will we be better when life shows up with an opportunity for us again? It's all you can do. It's all you can do. So many of us, unlike we do to our friends, we just beat ourselves up. We just berate ourselves. We just put ourselves down, believing that we should have made a different decision. Well, maybe you should have, maybe you shouldn't have, but you can't go back and get that decision. What you can do is take that decision and make sure that you're better when a similar situation shall arise, so that you perform better in that situation. The third thing we can do in being really good friends to ourselves is to be encouraging to ourselves, to speak words that encourages us. Typically, when friends call us and they're going through their pity parties, maybe they're dealing with a breakup or have just been diagnosed with an illness, what do we do in our roles as being friends but try to serve them as their chief encouragement officer? We try to find methods and ways to encourage them in spite of what they're going through. We work to try to get them optimistically looking forward towards their next moment. Well, this must be our approach with ourselves. We must, be encouraging to ourselves, so that whatever we're facing, whatever situation we're facing, we know that this thing did not come to last, but it came to pass. It didn't come to destroy me. It came to perfect me. It didn't come to knock me back. It came to set me up. And I've just got to optimistically continue to look forward, that I might see what is beyond this wall that presents itself as an insurmountable obstacle. Fourth thing that helps us to be better to ourselves is to see the best of who we are. To see the best of who we are. It's easy to see our shortcomings. It's easy to see when we've made some missteps. It's easy to see when we should have thought different, and because of that, now we're dealing with adverse consequences. It's easy to see when we have not lived up to what we thought that we should have lived up to. It's not always easy to see the best in who we are. And I just believe that in befriending ourselves and becoming our best friends, that it's important that we begin to see ourselves in the best light possible. How many of you have had friends? Maybe you have friends now that just seems to strew everything up. Just seems everything that they touch turns into a mess. Everybody can see it, and even you can see it. But instead of harping on their shortcomings, instead of harping on what everybody else sees, you're able to see the good in them in spite of what externally most people are able to see. Well, if you can see the good in others, I just ask that you put a mirror up in your face so that you can see yourself in the same light. So you're able to be good to you and see the good that's in you. See, it's just like searching for gold. It's just like searching for gold. Before you can get to the gold, you've got to go through the dirt. But you're not focused on the dirt. You're focused on the gold, knowing that you just got to sift through the dirt in order to get to the gold. And it's the same thing with us, beloved. It's the same thing in our relationships with others. More importantly, it's the same thing in our relationships with ourselves. Sift through the dirt to get to the goal, because there is goal within all of us. And so often many of us don't display the goal because we don't believe that others believe that there's goal within us. So we just conform to the thoughts of others. If they've written me off, then if I'm not careful, then I'll write myself off. But if I'm being a good friend to me, then I recognize that I've got to be honest with myself, yes, but I also have to be kind. I have to be encouraging to myself. I have to see the good that is within me that I might continue to move forward. The fifth thing that we can do in being a good friend to ourselves is to laugh, to laugh, to laugh about us with us. You don't need others to laugh with you. But one of the main glues or sticking points or aspects of most friendships is that most friends are able to laugh with one another. They're able to laugh about the good things. They're able to laugh about the things that are not so good. And if you can't laugh, you can't love. Because love is about laughter. It's about laughing together. It's about loving together. It's about playing together. It's about seeing life together. It's about experiencing things together. So I just say, laugh with you about you. And again, you have to love yourself enough to laugh in your victories and in your defeats. When you're good and when you're not so good. You have to laugh when you can look back and say, oh my God, I was way too serious in that moment. And laugh at yourself when you're being goofy. You've just got to develop the type of relationship with you that allows you to be your best to you. Again, because friends laugh with each other. And if you're going to be your own best friend, then you've got to find ways to laugh at you, with you, about you. The sixth thing that we can do in being, a friend to ourselves is to forgive ourselves. To forgive ourselves. To forgive. If you've had a friend for any length of time, especially, friendships that span time, that span decades, you've had to forgive them for something. Yet most of us will hold on to grudges and things that we've done, things that we're holding on to, things that happened sometime years and decades ago, and we won't forgive ourselves. We won't forgive ourselves. Many of us, some of us are emulating our behavior with others. We've got friends that we've not forgiven, and we're holding grudges for things that happened a long time ago. But how many of you know that those things live in us, and they create a cancer, they create sickness in us, and they restrict us from freely moving forward in the relationship in peace? If I'm always holding on to something that wronged me, if I'm always holding on to something that wasn't good to me, then it hinders me from freely moving forward. And too many of us are holding on to things that happened years and decades ago, allowing those things to weigh us down. And I just believe that the gravity itself in this world, not dependent upon what anybody else does, but just gravity in itself is enough to weigh us down without us contributing to our own weighing down by not forgiving ourselves. See, gravity is going to pull you down, but you don't have to pull yourself down by not forgiving yourself. So I just believe that if we're going to be friendly to ourselves, we've got to accept that we're human. And that a part of our human mechanism, a part of our human makeup is that we are prone to making mistakes and missteps. It's just a part of living. You're going to make some mistakes and you're going to make some missteps, but you've got to learn to forgive yourself so that you can move forward freely and in peace. And the last way, the seventh way that we can truly be good friends to ourselves is to begin to listen to our spirit. Listen to that inner voice that's within us. See, there's an inner voice in all of us that works to communicate guidance to us when we're engaged in life situations. It works in all of us. And the better we feel, the better the guidance. See, if I'm feeling all crappy and I've got a million things on my mind, well, typically what's going to continue to regurgitate itself are the bad thoughts, the bad feelings, the bad things that have happened to me. And I'm just going to stay in that cycle. But the better I feel, the better the guidance. I begin to see things different. I begin to feel different. I begin to respond different. So I just believe that the better we feel, the better the guidance. And so I just believe that when we're in that state, it's not necessarily the situation that we're going through, because life happens to all of us and we all go through tough situations, but we have to have the ability to still be able to see things as working together for our good, as working together for our good. And then when we're here, when we're at this point in life, when we're at this point when we can begin to listen to our spirit, then we're able to allow the good within us, which is the God that's within us, to begin to serve us in a way that guides us, in a way that guides us. But again, I'll say be careful in the guidance, because we still must properly discern the guidance, because there is good and evil that lives within us. There's a God spirit or a good spirit that lives within us, and there's an evil spirit that lives within us. And we've got to be able to rightly discern. Same thing when in our friendships with others. Some information they provide us, we use, and others we discard. Well, the same thing with listening to our inner spirit. We've got to begin to know how to discern that which is good from that which is not so good. And we've got to, the best way to do this is to be in the state that allows you to feel good going into the guidance that you're needing. And I just believe that if we do these things, they help us to be better friends to ourselves. And then in being a better friend to ourselves, it allows us to be a better friend to others. It allows us to be a better mother. It allows us to be a better father. It allows us to be better husbands and better wives. It allows us to be better to ourselves. And as we be better to ourselves, it allows us the freedom to be better to others. I believe it also helps us, again, to be better sons and daughters, because it allows us, when we're truly being honest with ourselves, but being kind to ourselves, it allows us to be accountable as sons and daughters. And so we're not so offended when our parents say things to us, because we are being accountable before they even get an opportunity to say things, because we're being the type of friend that checks us, that can check us when we're off track. And when you can check yourself before others get the opportunity to check you, it makes life so much easier, because it allows you to live without so much offense. See, the better we are to ourselves, the better we are to others. The better we are to ourselves, the less we allow others to be bad to us. See, we train others how to treat us by how we treat ourselves. And if we're not being friendly to ourselves, it gives others permission not to be friendly to us. If others see us mistreating ourselves, then it says to others that it's okay to mistreat us. And I just believe that if we're going to grow better today, we can do ourselves a great favor by becoming our own best friend. I hope that I've said something that inspires you to look in the mirror, to decide that there's nothing in this world worth you not being the best friend that you can be to yourself. It helps you to grow. It helps you to be better to you. It helps you to be better to others. I love you. And until next time, continue growing stronger. Continue growing wiser. Continue growing better and better and better each and every day, because it's in you and you deserve it. I love you.